Joining us today. My name is Brandy Jensen, and I am the Director of Programs and Services with the Brain Injury Alliance of Iowa. And we are thrilled to have you here participating in our virtual spa day session. That's part of our professional brain injury series for professionals. And what we're going to do first today is we're going to go ahead and have you guys participate in a poll. And so you should be getting some questions popping up on your screen to participate in right out of the chute here. So I want you to take some time with these questions, and we'll give you some time to do that, and we'll circle back to these in a little bit. Hopefully everyone can see the poll questions.
Yes.
We'll give the poll about another minute here for latecomers to participate. All right. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and pull those up. Hopefully you guys can see the results on your screen here. Susan, is it up for everyone to see?
I see it on mine. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Good deal. So I'm going to let you walk through what you see of those results, I guess, and give us your insight there.
Okay. So question number one, what is the main area of struggle in your life right now? And we have these options of family. Somebody is feeling that. Physical health, someone is feeling that. Fitness, someone is feeling that. Emotional wellness, spiritual wellness, work, other. So is that how it looks up? Does it look like everyone is, can identify that their struggle is either with their family, physical health, fitness, emotional wellness, and spiritual wellness, work, and other? Okay. All right. And so the next question, how do we get to, so really to, you'll have this opportunity when we're going through, I have a little workshop and I have some tips for all of you to help you to understand how to change your results. And you'll be doing a life assessment of yourself. And this was designed in a way, I did set my intention for this time together today for any type of compassion fatigue that you feel that you may be experiencing, to use these tools and the opportunity to learn how to turn things inward and have compassion for yourself. Because when we care for ourselves, that's when things change. But being caregivers, what we've done is we've left ourselves out of the equation. And we love taking care of people, and it really is quite rewarding for us. But it's not only until we understand we're going bankrupt in one of those areas that we start to look at, well, what could be the root cause, or at least that's what we should. And it is, and as you'll learn in the presentation, it's all about our thoughts, what we think about ourselves and our world. So, but this was really designed in a way for you to understand that you can change things. This isn't the way that it's supposed to be. If you don't like it, you can certainly change it, and that's what I do. My life's purpose is to support you in navigating that journey. So the next question,
Are you able to see that on your screen?
I see one. Oh, I see. It just goes down further. Okay.
Yep.
If I can get that to go down there. Okay. So the second question, what self-improvement area do you want to focus on? Okay, so let's see, one person participated. So family and fitness. Okay, yes, certainly. And that falls into what I'm going to be presenting about the domains of our lives that we can improve at using the tools that I coach. Okay, wonderful. Okay, and then up until now, what do you think is the real reason why you have not achieved your results? And so stress and a busy schedule. So you're right on there, because we look at our circumstances and our conditions, and they're basically our B causes of why we feel that we can't achieve our results. Well, I've got all this stress. Well, I have such a busy schedule. I don't have time to do all of that meditating and self-care stuff. And really, we've been trained to really not feel that way. So that's really our old programming. And so what we're called to do is install some new software. So, we're not using the stuff that came out, the computers and all of those things that came out in the 80s. For what we're doing now, we have to do the updates, we have to do the upgrades, and it's the same with our thinking and our lives. We can't use the same tools that we used when we were in kindergarten when we're running our business. Well, maybe some of them, but you understand that there's a difference of development and upgrading, and you need to understand to live in the now and be compassionate and learn. So it's just how, it just teaches us, like I have a note here, old programming. Why is it so easy to be compassionate to others? Why? But yet so hard to be kind to ourselves. Because we've been programmed, our cultural training, these Christian traditions teaching us that it's good to think of others and selfish to think of ourselves, but we believe that self-compassion, oh, that's weak, and that self-indulgence and even self-pity. And so we even think that we're fearing that we're letting ourselves off the hook, with really what we need is that harsh criticism to motivate ourselves to change. And so, but the conditions, this compassion fatigue and these self-limiting beliefs about ourselves and our world, they create these conditions, create a whole big garden where self-judgment flourishes. And then the loving kindness to ourselves just withers away. And that's very subtle. But you want to know what the antidote to this is? Self-compassion. So I don't know if you picked up or not, but I'm really quite passionate about this, and using the word passion again. And it's a very healing word, passion. And I'm going to be sharing some things with you today that have really helped me shift from being ashamed of myself and feeling guilty about my decisions and how I've hurt everybody, and just living in that energy, and how it affects our body physically. It's actually when we think negative about ourselves, that flows right into our body. And so when you have a dis-ease, basically, it's what you've been thinking. You're not good enough. You haven't been taking care of the temple that you've been given to carry out the action for the purpose, the dream that you've been given. A dream has you today, and we're going to watch videos about that. So, so I feel like we're kind of ready to proceed a little bit. If you want to. So I hope that kind of helps all of you to get into this thinking about yourself, and how yourself and you are so very important in this whole process of not only coming from where you are and where you'd love to be, but it helps everybody around you without lifting a finger. Because when we care for ourselves, that shifts all the energy to an increased vibration, and people will actually start evolving and taking care of themselves. So, okay, so should I just X this out, Brandy? Okay.
You should be able to just
Okay.
move through your slide to the next slide. If you just click it, there you go.
Okay.
This is your video. Okay.
All right, so this went right into the video, and I'd really love, it's 5 minutes and 40 seconds here, but I'd really love for you to lean in and think about the compassion that you have for yourself, that dream that you've had. But I just would love for you to lean in here and enjoy this. So we may have some we'll see if this will.
It is not.
And so this.
Most people are afraid of.
Okay, well.
It is getting to the end of life only to realize that you never truly lived. There was a study done, a hospital study, on 100 elderly people facing death close to their last breath. They were asked to reflect about their life's biggest regret. Nearly all of them said they regretted not the things they did, but the things they didn't do, the risks they never took, the dreams they didn't pursue. I ask you, will your last words be, if only I had, hey, you, wake up. Why do you exist?
Well, this will probably take a long time if this is the approach.
Life is not meant to simply work, wait for the weekend, and pay rent. No, I don't know much, but I know this. Every person on this earth has a gift. And I apologize to the Black community, but I can no longer pretend Martin Luther King? That man never had a dream. That dream
Okay.
had him. See, people don't choose dreams.
Well, maybe this isn't supposed to be shown to you today.
We can absolutely send a link out to the video as well, so you guys are able to watch this.
Yeah.
But maybe just speak through your meaning of it, and then we'll definitely make sure you guys get a copy of this sent out to you.
Yeah. And so what the video does is it shares that opportunity. Why are we here? You know, we are here because a dream has us. And are we going to, on our last breath, or before, are we going to have regret because we didn't do this, we didn't do that, we would, oh, if that would have changed things, having that regret, never apologizing to that person, or not ever changing something about yourself, and just carrying a grudge, or whatever it is, taking those trips, are you going to have regret? And that's what most of this is about, is because, and I'll explain this a little bit further in my slides, is about our longing and our discontent. And so WebMD, in a November 17th, 2020 article, defined compassion fatigue occurs when triggers and experiences start to affect our thoughts, moods, and well-being outside of work. So how many of us just go through and, just try to make it through a time frame and be our best, and then we go home and just unload, and, everybody, you kick the dog, you're all upset because you're so angry because you're not really doing what you want to do. And so I have this slide here to help you to really understand this language of success that I'm going to share with you. So there was this mother mouse, and she was leading her 3 children through a house. And all of a sudden, as they turn the corner, the mice, okay, they see a cat. So the cat looks at the mice with these hungry eyes and slowly starts walking toward the mice, revealing its sharp teeth. Well, now this mother mouse, in an effort to protect her children, she backs up, raises up on her hind legs, and then says in this loud voice, as loud as she can, "Ruff, ruff, ruff." Well, a cat gets scared and runs off. And then the mama mouse turns to her babies and says, "Now, children, I don't want you to ever underestimate the power of learning more than one language." So that's a kind of a cute little story to help you to transition to the next thing. So that's why I'm sharing this story, is because this is the language of success. We can all learn more than one language, and today we're going to be exploring the language of success. So this is a language for creating the results that you want. And once we consciously understand this language, we can apply it to any area of life that we want to improve. And yes, I have notes. I'm going to paint the barn red. I don't want to miss anything to share with you, because this is so important for you to hear. And so now this system of success we'll be exploring today has been developed over the past 40 years. And it's been used by tens of thousands of people around the world to create the lives that they love living. And so it's a proven, reliable, repeatable system for helping you to create what matters most to you. Okay, so get the next slide here. All right, so my intention for today, let's see here, giving you 3 of the tools to help you to achieve, well, I'm getting a little excited here. 3 tools to help you achieve your goals, greater clarity on your goals and dreams, and then to feel even more confident in your ability. Okay, so our goals and our dreams are often born out of the challenges that we're facing. And as we know, we've been facing these challenges, especially during the pandemic. We've been asked to change everything about us, and we really didn't have a choice about it. You know, we had to really adapt to a lot of things. And so I just want to know that, want to know if anybody's ever had a challenge, you know, and did you overcome that? Okay, so this is what we're going to look at. So we have 2 signals for growth, our longing and our discontent. So we live in this universe that speaks to us through the 2 growth signals, our longing and our discontent. We experience this feeling of longing when we're desiring something we haven't yet created, and we feel the feeling of discontent when current circumstances are something that we don't prefer. That's what the pandemic was. Well, we didn't prefer this. So we've really learned how this has affected us with our caregiving skills for ourselves and for others in this pandemic. And so, and yes, we feel the feeling of discontent when these current circumstances are something we don't prefer. And both of these, like I said, longing and discontent. But what's neat about both of them is they are the catalysts for us to grow. So our next screen here. All right. So the pain of a problem and the burning desire for something new are essential for creating new results. So whether it's the pain of a problem or a burning desire for something new, these 2 energies are essential for creating new results in our lives. We need to have both of them in order to move forward. Okay, so I am going to be sharing with you. I'm a transformational life coach, and 51 of my colleagues and I created this book that's a #1 international bestseller on Amazon. And I have another book coming out in June. But we created a book that shares 52 uplifting stories from life coaches who overcame and moved from stuck to success. And I'm on page 125. And the title of my story is The Angelic Nurse Who Changes My Life. And I'd really love for you to listen to all the words that I'm sharing, because this is my story. This is how I've come to where I am today, with understanding the compassion, the self-compassion to have for yourself so that we can care for others. So it's early November 1979, and I'm 16 years old. I have a job, neat friends, a boyfriend, and I'm diagnosed as pregnant. I'm planning a wedding for November to marry my 20-year-old boyfriend. I have quite the attitude, despite the curveball that I'm going to be just fine and that I really don't need help from anyone. So one Sunday afternoon after church, I start to feel lower abdominal pain and begin vomiting green material. I expect it to go away, but it continues to happen often. And my mother, who of course is not very pleased with the outcome of her pregnant daughter, isn't really understanding. Mom states, "Don't make such a big deal about it. If you think this is bad, well, you can just wait." I proceed to get worse with more and more pain. My mom takes me to the doctor in Minnesota, and he decides to admit me to the hospital, but unsupportively states, "Stop hyperventilating. It can't be that bad." So basically, I'm picking up that no one has compassion or sympathy for a pregnant 16-year-old. I feel so low. The treatment theory continues, and I'm admitted to the obstetrics floor. The admitting nurse states very judgmentally as she frowns, "Oh, so now you're pregnant." After they get me situated, they painfully make 16 attempts to start an IV before they call the paramedics. There are no apologies or explanations for the trauma I'm experiencing. To say I feel overwhelmed is an understatement. For the next 5 days, every 4 hours, they give me a hypo shot to settle me down. I can't eat or drink anything. On Friday night, my doctor walks by the room, and as I'm experiencing another vomiting session. Well, my doctor can see that this isn't getting any better, so he sets me up with an assessment with the surgeon. 5 minutes into the appointment, he shares, "We're going to do exploratory surgery. I am going to try to save one person instead of losing 2. They get to work, and I'm being prepared for emergency surgery. I'm terrified. My whole body is shaking as I think about what's going to happen. Is everything going to be okay? So as I groggily wake up after surgery, I ask, is the baby all right? And I'm reassured that everything is fine. And I've been transferred to the surgery floor after a much needed salpingo oophorectomy. It turns out that my ovary and my fallopian tube twisted and full of fluid, much like an appendix ready to rupture. My ovary was found to be the size of a kidney, and my fallopian tube was the size of a banana, full of infectious material ready to be dispersed throughout my entire body. The doctor tells me that I probably would have died later that night without the surgery. So after the surgery, I am weak, and the nurses have to help me with my basic needs. The surgery nurses are really not talking to me except while they're rolling me over and continuing to make me cough and deep breathe, stating, "Just stop your whining about how much you hurt and do this." I feel so alone and ashamed. So then one morning, a small blonde nurse comes in. She stands out as being different. She calls me by my first name. She approaches me with a smile. She respects my choices, and she gives me a bath and a back rub. So during our time together, she's picking up on how all I want to do is just get better, get married, and raise children. And she lovingly visits with me, and she tells me about how important she feels it is for me to finish school and to pursue a career, a purpose in my life. And she says, it would be helpful in case anything does happen to your husband, and you would have a way to take care of yourself. Well, I'm starting to feel like she's intruding somewhat on my independence until she reluctantly shares that her husband, a deputy sheriff, had been murdered on the job about 5 months prior. And I remember that on the news. My heart just sank. She goes on to disclose that if she did not have her education and job, it would have been so much harder for her to adjust. And I know I will never forget her, what she is saying and how it feels to be treated with such compassion during this difficult time in my life. I started to detach from my own anger and what I've been going through. I really started to feel a true healing. So years later, in 1996, my mother has a hysterectomy surgery in the same hospital on the same floor. I drive 500 miles to be with her. After arriving at the hospital, I asked the nurses if the nurse from my own surgery still worked there. And I share why I'm interested in talking with her. The nurses are delighted to contact her for me. So the next afternoon, I hear the phone ring in my mother's room at the hospital. I pick up the phone, and it's my nurse. I explained many years ago, you changed a young girl's heart. And I give her a description of myself and my life today. I go on to tell her how I have 3 children, I live in Iowa, and I am a registered nurse, and I'm working on my Bachelor of Science in Nursing. So with joy, I share about how every time I work with a patient, I feel this responsibility to earn their trust because of the positive impact that can be made to change a person's life in this vulnerable state. She starts crying because she's overwhelmed with what I've shared. She's humbled and so grateful to hear how she made a difference, because really all she did was listen and care about my outcome in life. But you see, that was everything to me. And this is the opportunity that we have as caregivers. Just by living our purpose and doing what we love and being in the presence of these people that are vulnerable and they're looking for us for strength. And so we can't be strong enough to serve them if we're not just pouring off from our saucer. We got to keep our cup full, and we should just give away what's overflowing on our saucer. So thank you for listening to that story of mine. And again, you can buy that on Amazon. And when you go to my website, there's an opportunity where you can order that book. And that's just one of 52 stories of life coaches like myself around this world that are sharing a story of how they went from stuck to success. And so the other thing that I'll be doing is I'll be sharing these principles that will help you to transform longing and discontent into new results. The principles I'll be teaching come from a program that I'm certified to teach. It's called the Dream Builder Program. And in this program, there are 10 principles that will skyrocket your success if you apply them to your life. So today, in the time that we have, I'm grateful to be able to give you 3 of the principles, the intention that I said earlier, and you'll be able to apply right now to help create a life that you absolutely love. So these 3 principles are the keys to mastering your results. And my promise to you is that I'm going to give you everything I can in our time together. And at the end of the presentation, if you want to take any of this information further, there'll be a special gift for you, and you can sign up for a 1-hour consultation with me. And this is complimentary, and that's your gift for being on this webinar today. Okay, so I have this slide up here, and I'm going to introduce to you the 4 domains in our lives that affect us. So we all have results in these areas. So the 4 domains in which we create our results are health and well-being, love and relationships, vocation, and time and money freedom. So we're all having results in these areas right now. Some results you may love, and some others maybe not so much. So here's the good news. No matter what the results, no matter how big of a challenge it might feel like to you, no matter how long an old result has been in place for you, you absolutely have the power to create the exact results you would love to have in your life. And so the results you're getting in these areas of life are really a perfect reflection of your awareness in these areas. So let's see here. We'll just highlight those 4. see if I can get to the next slide here. Isn't really wanting to go forward. Okay. All right, so let's expand our awareness in these areas. All right, so this is what we're going to be studying, is this pattern of the results formula. The formula begins like this. I can bring this up here. Thoughts. Okay, so our thoughts, everything that we think, causes our feelings. I can bring this up here. Okay. All right. And then, so when you think, and you know this because when you think joyful thoughts, you feel happy. When you think scary thoughts, your heart beats faster. And so the thoughts affect your physiology. And so when I was telling you my story, my thoughts about myself, because I let everybody down, I was ashamed of myself, I had guilt, I was telling myself all sorts of negative, terrible things. And that's how that's toxic to us, thinking negative thoughts about ourselves. And that shows up in our body or in stress or in some other way, but it comes out. What we're thinking absolutely comes out. And the next thing is our results. Okay, so thoughts cause our feelings cause our actions, and our actions cause our results. So by universal law, your feelings are expressed with your actions, or maybe lack of them, because you're so scared. And we know that our actions contribute to our results. It's simply the law of cause and effect. That's all it is. Our thoughts cause our feelings cause our actions or lack of them, and voila, we get our results. So that's why I'm going to be getting into changing our thoughts. So this is how this works for all of us. So if you want to know what you've been thinking, look at your results, because your results will never lie. Never. Right down there says that. Okay. So next thing here. Okay. So one way to do this, to create new results, one of the tools is notice what you're noticing. If you want to create new results in your life, then we pay attention to our thoughts. And that is something that we call notice what you're noticing. In the same way that you can notice that you feel your feet on the floor, or you can notice how a pen feels in your hand, you can also notice how your thinking affects your feeling. Okay, so we're going to get into a life assessment here. Okay. So let's apply the concepts of the results formula and notice what you're noticing in your life. Get your pen or pencil and your journal or a piece of paper. I get to do a much more in-depth version of this with my clients. But in the short time we have today, we're going to do a quick life assessment. I'm inviting you to notice your current results in each area of the life, and on a scale of 1 to 5, how fulfilled you're feeling about those results. 1 being not fulfilled at all, and 5 completely fulfilled. Okay, so health and well-being. Let's begin with that on a scale from 1 to 5. How fulfilled are you with your current results? I'll give you a moment to write that down. How fulfilled are you feeling with your health and well-being? 1, not so much, to 5, completely. Okay. So really wanting the slide to progress here, but it's evidently okay. So our love and relationships. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How would you rate your feeling about your love and your relationships in your life? Okay. All right. Then your vocation or the expression of your gifts, what you do, how do you use the gifts that God gave you to make money? He gave us all a purpose and he gave us all these gifts of the universe or whatever you believe, but we all have them. And we get to be in alignment with our purpose by applying our work to that. So 1 through 5. Your vocation or your expression of your gifts, your talent. And okay, time and money freedom. The next opportunity for you to make an assessment, 1 through 5. How fulfilled do you feel on how much money you have and how much time you have? Where is that? Okay. So, all right. So as we've considered each domains now of your life, get to the next screen here. Maybe. And you looked at your current results, you gave yourself a rating, a scale from 1 to 5. What is it costing you for the results to remain the same? Pay attention to your thoughts around those results. This is not a place for judgment or blame. Please don't judge yourself or blame yourself if you've got a 1 in any of these. Please do not. This is simply for raising your awareness of yourself in these areas. So you're simply paying attention to and noticing what you would love more of or less of in your life. Okay, I'm not sure why this doesn't want to continue. Okay, all right. Okay, so there you'll have an assessment on the 4 domains. Okay. Thanks for hanging in there with me and with the technology things that we're experiencing today. Okay, so whatever your results have been up until now, you have the power within you from this moment to create the results you love. And it all starts where? Right here, right in our brain, right in our mind. You have the power to change this. And so every one of us has a dream inside of us somewhere. And so I'm going to get us to the teaching point number 1, key number 1, and that's to be able to design your dream. Okay, so designing your dream. So this is the number 1 secret to dream building, is to design your dream. When you would love results in your life, you plan for them. Just like you have a clear blueprint when you build a house, the same is true when you're with your dream. Without a clearly defined blueprint, you cannot build your dream. Okay, and so I'd love for you to write this down. Clarity is power. When you become clear on what it is you really want in life, you begin to see opportunities and resources that you may otherwise have entirely missed. Things seem to appear out of the blue. So let's design the blueprint for your dream and let's make it crystal clear. And this is so important. So I'm sitting here today as a result of writing down my crystal clear vision. I designed my life of how I would love my vocation to look. And this is my dream come true, to be able to coach caregivers and help them to come from where they are to where they would love to be. This is my dream come true because I decided and I took action. I wrote it down and I was clear. Everything that I've done from that moment has been baby steps to get me closer and closer. And here I am. And here I am. So it's all possible. It's all what you're thinking, all what your thoughts are. And so then when you design this blueprint for your dream, like I said, it makes it crystal clear. So let me ask you, what would you love? Ask yourself, what would I love? Have you ever had that opportunity? Has anybody ever asked you what you would love? Wow. Nobody, until I started doing this training, nobody ever asked me what I would love. I'm a caregiver. We're always asking everybody else what would they love. And then we do that, right? We're giving, and we're not receiving. And a lot of times we refuse to receive. We refuse to have help. Oh, we can do this on our own. Well, we weren't meant to. And there's no hero badge in that, sacrificing that. No, it doesn't get you any closer to any accolades or rewards. So our journey is for us to do what we love, and then everything will work out. We don't worry about anybody else. It's all about us. When we fix us first, then everything else will shift. This is what's wrong with everything in our practice today, because we're not looking at ourselves. We're not making that opportunity for our self-growth and compassion and self-love. So anyway, I can get distracted on that, as you can see. All right, so imagine, so here we go. Boy, how are we doing on time? Are we doing good?
We are at 12:49 right now.
Okay, all right. So I think we can get there, but thank you so much. I want to be so mindful of everybody's time, and I know there's been a few little hiccups here. So I'm going to get to this slide about a time machine. Just lean into what you think about that word, or those words. So I'm really hoping that, there I go, time machine for 3 years. What would I love? Okay, imagine you stepped into a time machine. What would you love your life to be like in 3 years from now? So 3 years from now, everything you wanted completely worked out. And you have a vibrant health, wonderful relationships with family and friends, and you love your work, and you have all the time and money and other resources required. What does a life you love look like for you? Okay, so we're going to get to practice this here. So what I would love for you to do is take a moment, fresh sheet of paper, and 30 seconds to capture the ideas that came to you about what would you love in your life. Start your notes with the statement, I am so happy and grateful now that. Take a deep breath, and Brandy, if you can set the timer for 30 seconds.
Definitely.
Okay. And I'd love for you to all really think about what you would love. I am so happy and grateful now that. And think about how you would love your life to work out in 3 years. It all happened. It all worked out.
And time's up.
Okay, well, congratulations. And that's really the first key to mastering your results, is knowing what it is that you would love and describing it in the first step in bringing, and describing it is the first step into bringing it into life. And this brings us to the second key for mastering your results. And that is, okay, for some reason we went to that. Okay, so we got that checked. All right, we got that done. Okay. Key number 2, deciding for your dream. So deciding for your dream, just like we experience results throughout our day, we also make decisions each moment of our day. In fact, it's been proven that highly successful people are willing to decide for what they would love, even in the absence of knowing how to bring it out. I didn't know how I was going to do this. I just knew that I loved it. And everything I did was to support what I loved. Every step I took, every decision, every action. Some people want to know every step before deciding. Well, the key is that you make a firm decision for what you want before you will bring your dream into reality. And that means you get to decide for new results. So with your life assessment, you now recognize your current results where you are right now, right? So, okay, then after journaling what you would love in your life, you now recognize your dreams, where you want to go, right? Okay, great. So what happens in the middle between the results you have now and the results that you want? Any idea how you're going to be bringing that dream about? Exactly. So we want to suspend the how, put the how on hold. That is, we're going to refuse to let the unknown stop us from making a decision to move forward towards our dreams. So I'm going to do another slide here. Are you willing to decide to do whatever it takes to experience those results you'd love? Deciding for new results. This is what we're talking about, where you are now, where you'd love to be. And there's that how. And then just forget about the how. Look at where you are now and where you'd love to be. Okay, you don't get all hung up in the how you're going to do it at all. Okay. All right. So then we're going to get into something. So we checked that off. So we decided for your dream. So here is key number 3, befriending your fear. So that brings us to the third key to mastering results in your life, and that is befriending your fear. What does that even mean? It means making friends with your fear. Yes, it means you can have fear, but you don't have to let the fear have you. That's kind of a new thing. So when we decide for a dream, like you've all done here today, there's a part of you that says, heck yeah, I'm doing this. And then there's a part of us that says, yeah, right, that's not going to happen. Well, what if I fail? That is the voice of fear. It's the part of you that wants you to stay just like you are, status quo. Okay. And so learning to walk. So when we were babies, we all started out as non-walkers. And, you know, we saw people walking around. We wanted to have that level of freedom. So we rose up and we locked our eyes on a toy or cookie that we wanted, and we gave it our best shot. But trying to take some steps, what happened? We fell. We fell. Well, what did we do next? Well, we got up and took a few steps and fell again. But so when you're learning to walk, did you ever think to yourself, well, that's it. I guess I'm just not meant to be a walker. No, of course not. You rose up and you kept going. And each try you took a few more steps and a few more until finally you became a walker. But something happens when we become adults. We stop giving ourselves permission to fail and to fall down. Okay, that's how we learn to walk, is by falling down. That's how we learn. Failure is a wonderful thing. It's wonderful. It's a great teacher. So we learn to walk by falling down. The truth is, it is falling down and getting back up again that is actually the key to achieving your dreams. We befriend our fear and give ourselves permission to fail enough to succeed. So great dream builders are willing to fall and rise again. And in the video, he addressed a couple of the people. So Oprah Winfrey, she was fired by the TV executives because, you know, she just wasn't fit for TV, but now she has her own multi-billion-dollar network. Okay. So Steven Spielberg, he was rejected from the USC Film School 3 times, but he rose up and he kept going. We can probably name his blockbuster movies, and his net worth is estimated to be more than $3 billion. Okay, so the people, the fella, Mr. Howard Schultz, that started Starbucks, he was told there was no market for this kind of thing. And his loan was rejected 242 times. Now there are nearly 30,000 Starbucks around the world, and the company has a network of more than $22 billion. I mean, these people are no different from us. Fear and failure are prerequisites for achieving great dreams. So let's see, we'll just kind of fly through some of these things. So this fear, doubt, and worry. So how do we give power to the part of us that wants to move forward when we're hearing that voice that wants us to play small? There's a whole process to this that I take my clients through. But for today, I'm going to give you one thing that you can do. Refocus your mind on your dream. That's what you can do. And then take an action step. Just thinking about your vision, your dream, and even writing it down is not going to make it happen. Just poof, like magic. You have to do your part, even if that means doing it afraid. I was afraid. I didn't know how to build my own business, but I knew that I wanted to have the power to have my own business and do what I would love so I can show compassion to myself and the caregivers as I'm working my business. I'm growing in my self-compassion. So, but you get to refocus your mind on your dream and then take that action step, like I said. And so doing your part. And so I'm just going to go through a little summary here because I'm sure we're pretty close to time. You know, focus on your dream, take the action. Okay. So designing your dream, deciding for your dream, befriending your fear. Those are the 3 keys that we talked about today. And that you are worthy of your dream and a life that you love. And there is this story here about William Murray and Edmund Hillary. And I don't believe I really have a whole lot of time to get into that. But what this is about is that he wanted to climb the mountain, but he didn't feel that he could because he didn't have the money. It cost too much. He would love to do it, but he said, no, I don't have the money. I don't have the money. But he kept being asked over and over again. And then finally, he said, how much is the deposit? He could put a deposit down, and then the universe and all the resources came into him for the rest of came in for him from the universe. That's how this goes. So once I made my decisions to do and I've had many, many, many dreams come true, but I had to make a decision that I was going to do that. And I took the action steps, but I did what I could do with where I was at with what I had. So, but really until we're committed, and he wrote books and told the whole story and how Mount Everest was summited. And this is the whole backstory. So, but really until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back. And then there's always ineffectiveness with that. So, but just know that whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius in it, power and magic in it. And I I think that's kind of, yeah, and this is my website where you can go and you can schedule, you can read about how you can order the book, Short, Sweet, and Sacred. You can see the success stories of all the clients that I've coached. I have a show every Wednesday in New York on for 30 minutes and talking about the success stories of my clients. So that's an opportunity for you. And that's my gift. And this is normally $250 to do this. So you're going to have one-on-one focus on you, looking at what you would love and what can you do with where you're at with what you have to make that come into fruition. So that's about all that I have. And I'd love to share if we have time. Do we have time?
Yeah, if there's questions,
Yes.
feel free to chat your questions into the chat box or raise your virtual hand in the communication area of the Zoom, and I can unmute you, or just unmute yourself. We will be sending out a link to the video. Unfortunately, sometimes those videos don't want to carry through very well through Zoom. So we'll make sure you guys get a copy of that link. Okay. Well, it does not look like any questions at this point. So thank you for joining us today. And hopefully everyone has a great weekend.
Yep, it is Friday. So thank you so much. I'm very grateful for you listening to my story and how I came about to live the life that I love living.